Hi everybody, welcome to this week's academic video. Today is all about the Director of Research and Innovation. Welcome along to the channel. My name is Caroline. I am a university physics lecturer here in the UK. So I research and I teach and I work in the field of physics. And as part of this academic channel, we've been starting to explore the different roles that you might want to have if you work at a university. And one of those roles is the Director of Research and Innovation. So in this video, we're going to explore what that role is, who might undertake it within an academic department, and what activities you might get involved with. First up then, who is the Director of Research and Innovation? In my experience, this position is filled within a department by a university academic who has got significant experience within that department and has got an interest in leading the research areas across that particular department area. So I think quite often you're going to see people who are maybe senior academics. So here in the UK, senior academic positions, you've got lecturer, senior lecturer, reader and professor. And I think, typically in my experience, the Director of Research and Innovation is often filled by an academic who's reached reader status or reached professor status. And ultimately, what is the responsibility of that person? It is to lead the direction of the strategic research and innovation within the department or indeed the school, depending on the university structure that that colleague works within. And typically I've seen this role being undertaken by a colleague who still maintains their own personal teaching and research. So, like I'm the admissions tutor at the moment and I still have to do that role alongside my research and teaching, the Director of Research and Innovation, they have their own duties associated with that position, but they typically will do that alongside maintaining some portfolio of research and some personal teaching allocation as well. Now, how much you have to do, how much teaching and research you do alongside this role will depend on department to department, university to university. If you find yourself becoming the Director of Research and Innovation of a really big department or like a really big combined school with multiple departments in it, you're most likely going to get, quite a significant reduction in your own personal teaching workload allocation and your own personal research expectations in order so you can undertake the duties of that Director of Research position. If you're in a smaller department, you might find it only takes a small amount of your time and therefore you can maintain a bigger teaching workload. So what do you actually then get up to as the Director of Research? Well, first up, and probably no surprise, you are leading the research budget and the priorities for that particular department. Now, of course, you're going to be working very closely with the head of the school or the head of department. We made a video about that role earlier in the year, so I'll pop a link to it now. You're also going to be potentially working with any departmental research leads. So this is where a department organises its academics in research kind of groups or teams, and they only have an individual research lead that kind of coordinates the efforts of those particular academics. And if your department has that, you might have, multiple research leads that then report in and work with the Director of Research. So if you are that person, you are the director, you're going to be looking across the incoming funds available to the department. So how much money has the department been awarded, both internal funding, how much income is the department bringing in through their own kind of research endeavours. So you'll be looking to see, what buckets of money have come through the research grant applications from the academics within your team. And then you'll be looking at the priority areas of that department as well. Working with the head of school, working maybe with the people who coordinate the teaching programmes. Is there a particular area of research that your department is moving into? Is there a particular area of research that you want to highlight in the next few years? Is there an area that you need to grow and you need to expand? So you will be kind of strategizing, if that's the right word, strategizing the kind of the research avenues of investigation and helping to kind of coordinate those priorities for the overall kind of department level picture of what research is happening within that department. And so along with that, you'll be kind of looking at the international partnerships. So you might be seeing, which academics are working with international collaborators, what partnership agreements are in place, where these can maybe be expanded, where these maybe could be utilised to help kind of grow future research, where there might be a collaboration between two groups that they maybe haven't identified yet. And actually you can bring those two parties together and encourage them maybe to submit for joint bid research grant applications. So you'll kind of be looking across the whole picture, the finances, who's doing what research, the priorities for the team and the department, and then any kind of commercialisation or international areas where you can bring people together. And with that, you might have responsibilities for helping ensure that the research coming out of your department or out of your school is open and accessible to others. So particularly I'm in the sciences, we take data, and there are rules and regulations about making sure the data that we collect is available for other researchers to use on their particular projects. And so as that kind of director of research, you'll be responsible for knowing what those kind of rules are, knowing what the access policies are. Your university might have its own open access policies. So many universities like to kind of store their theses from the students in a particular area so people can access it. You might keep a log of the paper, and there'll be like a library system, no doubt, on how you want to kind of keep open access available to papers where you can. Sometimes you can have a system where the university allows other researchers to access papers internally, but there are restrictions on other academics from other universities accessing papers externally unless they've paid the relevant publication fee for the right journal. We can discuss that one in a future video because it gets a bit complicated. But essentially, as the director of research, you are making sure that your university abides by those open research access policies and that you are encouraging the transfer of research information. So as a director of research, maybe a director of research and innovation, depending on your title, you will be championing equality and diversity and inclusivity within your department and within your school. Making sure that research is being represented fairly across the school, making sure that all academics are getting the opportunity to share their research results, to share their time in the limelight for things that have gone well with their research, and making sure that the culture and the atmosphere within your department and your school is one where people feel included and they want to get involved and tell other people what they've been up to. They are free to form the working collaborations that they need to. They're not put into a team and then can't necessarily talk with colleagues in another team. You really want to create that kind of friendly, open, inclusive environment so that research really does have the best opportunity to flourish within that particular department or school. And of course that does mean that you're going to become, you're going to know your research colleagues very well. You're going to start to know their research areas. You'll know what different research groups are working for within that department. You'll know the themes that are coming out of the particular departmental areas. You'll become you get quite a good overview, I think, of all the research obviously going on within that department. And that does mean then that you can contribute towards potentially staff appraisals or promotions or providing bits of information to other senior colleagues, most typically the head of department or the head of school, to kind of support cases and let people know, that particular academic applied for so many grants this year and they did a really good job with that particular one, or this person had a really good project and we actually turned it into a research impact case, which is a way we evaluate research here in the UK. And so you might use your research experiences and position from seeing the research all across the department to help support staff, in particular staff-based processes. And so you might find yourself as the director of research then really being involved in helping to promote and champion and align to kind of national frameworks or organisations to ensure that there is good equality, diversity and inclusivity within your research and the research coming out of your department. And very importantly, as the Director of Research and potentially Research and Innovation, depending on how your department calls it, you are going to play a key role in coordinating evidence and information that feeds into national policy and framework that assesses a particular research output from the university. And that's a very complicated way of saying basically that research universities we're kind of assessed on our research output in several ways here in the UK. One of them is through the Research Excellence Framework. We also looked at our kind of potential information transfer to industry, and that's through the Knowledge Exchange Framework. That's a much newer kind of part of the process. It's called the KEF. The Research Excellence Framework, the REF, is very well established. We should definitely talk about the REF and the KEF in a future video. But it's really important that a university showcases their very best research and how it's helped to kind of transform industry or made a good public society contribution, because that helps the university rank really well within the Research Excellence Framework, which obviously then impacts potentially the university position within kind of league tables and how people externally view that particular university. So coordinating your colleagues, leading these kind of impact case statements on particular research areas, making sure that the very best research outputs from a particular department over a particular time period are well represented. That is a key part of being the director of research. So I think you can kind of see from the kind of list of jobs, and I've really just kind of skimmed across the surface, that being the director of research is a big job. It's something that's going to take up a lot of your personal time, not your time outside of work, although it probably does take up your time outside of work. What I mean by your personal time is taking time away from your personal teaching and your personal research, and instead you're spending a high proportion of your time now actually coordinating and leading and supporting the research and the research impact of others within your department. I've not done the role, I've seen others do the role. It does look like it's very interesting, but it does look very demanding. Maybe at some point in the future I will become a director of research. It's not on the cards anytime soon, I should hasten to say. But let me know, within your university, do you have these appointments? Do you just have a head of school? Or does your department actually have a director of research or a director of innovation? And does the activities that I've described kind of resonate, or does your director of research do something kind of completely different to what I've described? Let me know in the comments, because universities, we all do things slightly differently, and within the UK we do things slightly differently, and definitely internationally we do things differently as well. So let me know, do you have a director of research, and what do they do? But in the meantime, as always, have a really good week. If you're new to the channel, thank you for hitting subscribe. If you'd like to join the channel, just click the subscribe button. We're here I am here every Monday morning. I release a video here in the UK. It's a whole mix of topics, so we'll kind of dive into research, teaching, roles within the university, things that are happening in the academic calendar. So if that sounds like fun to you, please do come along, do leave me a comment. As always, I do love reading your comments and seeing what everyone is getting up to. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next Monday for another academic video. Bye!